Hey guys, it's Sam. Welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be swatching and playing with a new palette. This palette first drew my attention in. I saw it on my Instagram feed and I just immediately fell in love with it. The palette launched on August 30th. Today, the day of filming, it is September 3rd. It will probably be up on my channel September 4th, I would imagine, so within under a week of the collection releasing. I am, of course, talking about the Urban Decay Stoned collection. I had no idea that this was coming. I've been kind of, I don't want to say like turning a blind eye to new collection releases, but as I am trying now to save money for a wedding and I'm trying really hard to pay off some loans prior to that, just for school and whatnot. So I'm trying really hard not to constantly be buying new makeup, but when I saw this, I couldn't help myself. So in the collection, it came out with a palette, which I have right here. It also came out with 4 new 24/7 glide-on eyeliners, which I also purchased. There was a highlighter, which I did not get, and I think 3 or 4 like really glittery, I think they were called like dimensional lip glosses or something like that, which I also did not get. So for this video, we are going to be mainly focusing on the Stoned eyeshadow palette. This has 12 shadows in it. We're going to be mainly focusing on this, swatching it, playing with it, getting a first impression. But I also do have the 4 new eyeliners, so I'm going to be swatching those for you guys as well, because why not? So let's get straight into it. First things first, I haven't opened the box yet, but the packaging is awesome. I am so excited about this. And it basically says on the back, get inspired to create with stoned vibes. Oh, sorry. So it's called the Stoned Vibes palette, not the Stoned palette. Eyeshadow palette, a lineup of 12 all new highly reflective vegan shades. So if you are a vegan or a cruelty-free makeup user, this is good for you. Infused with genuine tourmaline to block bad vibes and take your look higher. So this has actual like flecks of real crystal in it, which is really cool. Have it all with 8 creamy prismatic shimmers and 4 down-to-earth grounded mattes. So you get a nice variety of some mattes to start off a look, but also those shimmers to really build up something fun and dramatic. Manifest good vibes with Ojo, a dimensional radiant blue, or dip into Opal Aura, a glowing iridescent shimmer. Whatever path you choose, Stone Vibes will empower you to live your best life. Vegan formula does not contain animal-derived ingredients or byproducts. Heads up, this creamy buildable formula is best when touched or swiped. For a more intense color payoff, use your fingers. With the marbleized shimmer shades, use the flat end of the double-ended brush with the matte shades to build depth, or diffuse and blend with the fluffy end. Normally, I don't play with the brushes that come out in these palettes, but I do want to see exactly what this palette has to offer us, so we are going to actually use the brush it comes with today if I can get the box open. So like I said, I haven't seen this yet, so we're opening the box right now. So really excited. It looks, oh my goodness, it looks virtually like the outside packaging with the beautiful shimmer, except I don't know if you guys can see this. This is like a raised kind of crystal sort of look to it. Really pretty. Has the same kind of casing that a lot of the newer Naked palettes have. So the Naked Heat, the Naked Honey, and the Naked Cherry. Are you guys ready? Let's get this open. First, look at the palette. So this is what the palette looks like. Like the back of the box said, you get 12 shades, you get 4 mattes, which are in the 4 corners, and then a bunch of shades that have been like infused, I guess, with different kinds of crystals. And you also get the typical Urban Decay double-ended brush. It's got like a fluffy blending side and then a flat side. So I have never used one of the Urban Decay brushes that came in one of the palettes. I don't know why that is. Like I should just use them like they're extra brushes as they are, but we are going to use this one. So before we get into that, we are going to definitely swatch them, but let's just do like a first little chat about it. So I really like the way that this looks. I think you get a lot of fun color varieties. Some of the colors aren't picking up quite on the camera like they look in person. For example, this Tiger's Eye color is very golden in person, and it's almost coming off more like rose gold on the camera, which is kind of interesting. But you get a lot of fun colors, and the mattes are really good staple matte colors. Like you've got like a good olive of the lid color, a couple of good crease colors. So let's get to swatching. So I'm just gonna do about 4 at a time. So we'll do 3 runs of 4 just to get all 12 on my arm. First up, we're gonna swatch all of the matte shades including in the palette. So we have Good Karma, Antidote, this shade here is in Hexed, and then Third Eye. So I'll show you guys just as I'm doing it so you guys can see that they are kind of like one swipe deals. So first color, second, third, fourth. So off first impressions, I would say that these have the same quality as their Naked palettes do. I'm a big fan of Urban Decay shadow formulas. I think they're fantastic. I think that's one of the reasons why they are such cult classic palettes. Like all of the Naked palettes have such an intense following to them, and I feel like this one's going to be no different. It's just a lot more shimmery. So now that we've done the 4 matte shades, we can get into swatching some of the shimmers. Alrighty, so this first row we have Jade. This color is Opal Aura, and in the pan it actually is like a silver with some blue flecks in it, which is why it's got quite a cool tone silver. Then you have Tiger's Eye, which again, I thought it was more gold, but it definitely is a little bit more rose gold, copper-ish. And then Vibes is a light lilac kind of purple. So once again, I'm going to swatch them on camera for you guys just so you can see what we're working with. Ooh. They have a beautiful formula. They're very creamy. They feel very soft. See, once again, that one, like it pulls such rose gold vibes when you look at it like on camera in the viewfinder, but it really looks very gold from certain angles. It's one of those things you're gonna just have to like see the palette and see yourself. But those are the 4. So there's not a ton of glitter fallout, which is really, really nice because that's always a concern of mine personally. I'm not a big glitter person. So when I am going to be wearing a shimmery or a glittery shadow, the last thing that I want is to worry about it going all over my face. And they did recommend that when you're putting on those shimmer shades, you do use your finger and work in a press down motion. I think you're gonna get a lot more pop of color, a lot more pigmentation, a lot more staying power, and a lot less fallout. But they seemed really creamy, really pigmented, really smooth. So we've only got 4 colors left. So these are the last 4. So we have Bloodstone, which is like a reddish, brownish, kind of has a little greenish in it. We have Ojo, which is more of like a chunky kind of formula. It's the first formula that's been particularly different than the others. We also have Raw Energy, which in the pan is like a bright purple, but then when you have it on, it's a little bit more toned down. And then Meditate, which is like a rosy sort of a pink. So again, I would like to put them here, but I didn't leave myself enough room, so I'm just going to swatch them kind of here for you guys. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, really nice pigmentation, particularly the first 2. I find that a lot of the darker colors show up a lot better when you swatch, but we're gonna have to see how this goes on the eyes. I have no idea what kind of a look we're doing today, but based off the arm swatches alone, I am really, really excited about this palette. I think it has a lot of fun options in terms of those brighter colors and then also those staple colors. So you could definitely like play this up and make it a little bit more bright or make it super neutral and just like everyday wearable. Before we play with the palette, I am going to swatch the 4 new 24/7 liners that came out in this collection. You guys know I'm obsessed with these. They are my all-time favorite eyeliner. I just love them so, so much. So they are waterproof, long-lasting, you know, all the normal shtick that you get with these. Yeah, so there's nothing special about these other than the colors. So these are the 4 new liners. They look like they kind of have almost like that same shift of color to them that a lot of the shadows had. So you have Reflect, which looks kind of like a golden greenish sort of tone. High Vibes is almost pulling like a bit of a brown green vibe. Then you have Tiger Eye, which again is kind of like a brown pinkish sort of color. And then you have this purple, which is Raw Energy. So we're gonna swatch these on my hand really, really quickly. Alrighty, so these are the 4 colors swatched in the same order that I talked about them. So we've got Reflects, High Vibe, Tiger's Eye, and High Energy, I believe is the last one. Raw Energy, I'm so sorry. So they are really pretty. They glide on really, really well. And just something to be aware of, I know that Urban Decay put out like those glittery ones. I think last summer there were 4 that were kind of glittery, and I don't know about anybody else that got them, but the lids on mine fall off like crazy, and it's only on those ones. Like I have a really shimmery blue one called Roxy, and then a like rose goldy pink one, I think it's called like Wild Side or something like that, and the lids fall off all the time. These lids are super secure, which is great because you don't have to worry about them drying out. Alrighty, so now that we've got all our swatching done, let's get into playing with this bad boy. So I'm going to zoom you guys in a little bit just so you can see what I'm doing. Like I said, I will obviously not be trying out every shade. That would be a tall order, but we're going to do our best to get into obviously all the formulas. We're going to play with some of the mattes, some of the shimmers. We're going to use the brush included as well as another one, possibly just because I'm thinking I might be smudging a color under my eye. We might pop one of the liners in our waterline. We shall see. So I do have, just for the sake of letting you guys know, I did use Urban Decay Original Shadow Potion. As per normal, if I have a eyeshadow primer that is the same as whatever the brand is that I'm using, I like to use them together because I think it gives the palette the best shot, as that was probably what the palette was tested on, you know, during trials. So first things first, let's take Good Karma, and I'm just going to take it on the fluffier side of that brush. I'm kind of just going to buff that all over the lid just to lay down a nice base of a color. It's a really, really light color. It does show up a little bit, I will give it that, but not a ton. You know, just with my skin tone, it blends in very, very well. If you had a deeper skin tone, it might show up a bit more, but I feel like that's with any palette. And the one thing that I do like about this is I actually do think that this would be pretty good for most, if not all, skin tones, just because some of those colors are so pigmented, but you also have the softer ones. So for, you know, girls like me who are a little bit more fair, it's not going to be too intense. We're going to take the color Hexed, I think. I really have no idea where I'm going with this, but I'm going to take that color on that fluffy side again, and we're just going to kind of like, oh yeah, buff that. So that is very pigmented color. I don't like the brush, to be honest. I don't like the shape that it's in. I wish it was a little bit more like tapered, if that makes any sense. It's just a little bit wide for my liking, but that's just a personal preference. You know, this might be exactly what some people are looking for in a brush. And the thing that I like about these palettes is because they come with a brush, say you're just starting out with makeup or you don't have a ton of brushes, this is a really good way to increase your brush collection. And really, if you look at the price of some of Urban Decay palettes, like they all come with a brush, I'm pretty sure, and I would say it really isn't upping the price a lot, especially when you compare it to, for example, there is a new Natasha Denona palette. It's like a glam palette, which looks gorgeous, and it's laid out completely differently than any other palette because instead of having shade names, it says like crease color, center eyelid, like that sort of thing. It's telling you where you could put them to get different glamorous looks. But those palettes at a miniature size are $86 and they don't come with a brush. I can't remember exactly how much I paid for this, but it will be down below. Just for the sake of trying it with another brush, I'm going to pick up a Third Eye with just a bit more of a tapered kind of a brush. And just kind of pop that in the outer corner. And a bit into the crease just to build some darkness, a little bit of depth. So we've gotten into 3 out of the 4 matte colors, which is nice. I think they all perform really nice, really blendable, really easy to work with, not patchy at all. So that's a plus. Now we're going to go in with a couple of the shimmers. I haven't quite decided what I want to do. I'm thinking let's do something with kind of like the greens and the blues, and then maybe a little bit of that tiger's eye like underneath, I think is what I'm kind of aiming for. So I'm thinking that if we go start with this Ojo color on like the outer corner, get into the green, and then into this light opal aura, then we might have like a nice little gradient transition, but we'll see how it goes. So we're gonna pick up that color. I am gonna pick it up on my finger because that is what it suggested, and I see why. It goes on very, very pigmented. and a little goes quite a long way. Like I didn't have all that much on my finger, just about that much, just a couple of soft taps. And as long as you're doing a really good kind of pressing action, it does sit exactly where you want it. I'm not getting really any fallout whatsoever, which is shocking, but also great. I think if you wanted it a bit darker of a blue, you could definitely add a bit more, but I'm gonna go into the green, and I might go back into it later just to add to it a bit more, but let's just sort of start here. Should have had a game plan. I always come into these videos with no game plan of what I'm gonna do, just almost like trying to use as many of the fun colors as is humanly possible. So it looks like they blend really nicely into each other. I'm just dragging the blue a little bit towards that green, and it kind of gives it a really nice, almost like blue to teal gradient effect. Now I'm gonna take Opal Aura, which is like that silvery bluish kind of one, and we're gonna pop that in the inner corner and blend it into the green. It's kind of like an icy sort of a tone. I'll get a little closer so you guys can see it. These are super pigmented, not a ton of fallout, which I'm really impressed by, and they blend nicely together. So check, check, a check. Last thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna take a bit of the Tiger's Eye color, which is like that gold, rose gold. I don't really know what it pulls, and I'm gonna use the flat side of this brush and just sort of see what it does. Yeah, it's definitely picking up, hoping you guys can see this, more gold on the brush. I do just want a little bit of that underneath my eye. I was hoping it would be a little bit more pigmented, but obviously brushes are not the way to go with these. Let's try a bit of a denser one. Okay, I'm gonna try it with this pencil brush and see if it picks up a little bit more product, or if these are really something that need to go on with the finger. So I am getting certainly more than we had previously. There's a chance that this would work with something like Fix Plus, but I would have to do a little bit more research before I attempt that, and I only say that because I remember when I had my Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette, I used a brush on some of the shimmer shades to get a little bit more punch, and it ruined that shimmer shade. It turned it into a hard pack because it didn't like that I sprayed the brush and then touched the brush. So I'd say that that's what we got with, you know, just the eyeshadows. I really like them. Let's throw in one of these liners just because I have them, so why the heck not? I'm gonna go with this High Vibes one because I think that it'll pull kind of a little bit of brown, a little bit of neutralness, but it also kind of has a weird green shift to it in my opinion. So I'm just gonna pop that in my waterline. And a little out, obviously, because I missed. These smudge out so nicely. I don't know if you guys saw that, like, if you just kind of put a little bit where you want it concentrated, and then either with a brush or your finger, again, smudge it along your lash line. They are so nice. And we're gonna call that look done. So I'm gonna pop on a mascara really quickly, and then I'll come back and wrap up this video. Alrighty, you guys, so this is the look that we are left with. I'm really into it. I think that this palette for me is a big hit. It's kind of exactly what I look for when I look for these palettes that are a little bit more shimmer focused. I always like to have some mattes. I think that they just ground a look. But to have a lot of these different kinds of shimmer colors is really nice because it makes the palette super versatile in my opinion. A lot of palettes that do have are a little bit more heavy-handed in the shimmers are kind of a lot of neutral shimmers. You don't get these bright blues and purples and things like that. So that's something that I love. I love the blendability. I love that there's not a ton of fallout on my face. I think that they pop really well, good pigmentation. They go on the lid just as well as they swatch. As far as the eyeliners are concerned, that's a formula that I fully back 100% of the time. If anybody's looking for a really nice, colorful eyeliner, those are definitely the ones to go with. I think, now that I think about it, NYX does have a similar formula that are also really good at a fraction of the price, but Urban Decay are still my favorite eyeliners. And I'm interested in trying out the NARS ones because they look like they also have a similar formula. And for me, and I don't know what the reason is, this palette for some reason has the same kind of vibes. And I don't know why I feel this way as my Zoeva Screen Queens one, but like, I don't know why I think that, maybe because this is all shimmer and so this has a lot of shimmer. It's like this is the palette that this really wanted to be and just bombed, because I really didn't like this palette. This is not a video to knock this palette, so I'll just say that. But I think for me that the Stoned Vibes palette was a big hit. I love the packaging. I love the color story. I love the formulas. I'm really excited to play with a lot more. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you have this palette, comment down below. What are your thoughts? What are your opinions? What other new palettes have you guys seen out lately that you really want, or, you know, whatever. What kind of eyeliners do you like to use? I always like hearing from you guys, and if you're not and you want to be, then subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. I will catch you guys next time. Bye.